Welcome back to Filmworx Fantastic. Man, look, the reason why we do this is because we love filmmaking and we're out in the field literally every day. But there's one part of production that is not out in the field, but that constantly get vast arrays of data that needs to be processed into a beautiful story. And one of the team members that work on this is Tabiso Desemela, our editor. And he gets to do and work with quite a lot of various camera operators doing various things, and then he has to interpret that footage and make sure it makes sense. So why on earth did you decide in this huge industry that is filmmaking to do post-production?
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor. I'll tell you this story for a full day, but I'll just make it quick for you. So one of the reasons why I got into post, it was for my love for storytelling. It always amazed me how camera operators shot content. And then whenever it got to post, it will be different. The deliverables will be different, or the end product will be different. And I think one of those things made me like I fell in love with the idea of like having to make those decisions to change a story just a little bit, So it's mostly about like storytelling, narratives, and all those things. Yeah.
So you're talking about stories and narratives, and yet here you are being thrown so many variety of content pieces. What are the content pieces that you normally work on here at SA Filmworx?
Okay, so with SA Filmworx, yeah. So with SA Filmworx, we deal with like a diverse range of like content. If I had to break it down for you, we do corporate videos. We do social media for like optimized platforms like YouTube, Insta Shorts or Reels. We do conferences, which is quite a nice just put it like that. And we do docu-series, which is part of what I also love to do in post-production, like working with docu-series, which works in conjunction with like storytelling. So there's quite a vast, diverse range of work that we do at SA Filmworx, which is a bit tricky because you have to be able to work in all these different platforms for different clients, but then be just one person, an editor. So it's quite an interesting journey for me.
Yeah, and also really capturing the tone of each of those various brands and stories that you need to capture and understand that audiences, right? Because every video's audience differs. It's age, it is youth, it's so vastly different. And you need to understand that.
But some of them are for like brand growth, to grow a brand or to bring awareness to people. So it's one of those things. I agree with you.
So if I'm a camera operator and I need to film this project and I know you will be editing it, what do you want me to consider to make sure that you are successful in the edits?
One of the things that I like to tell camera operators or production guys, the first thing, shoot more than you need. Make sure you have enough coverage from like cutaways, B-roll, and like just shoot more than what you need, because that kind of helps me with like the flexibility of editing, and it also like it prevents those gaps in like when you're editing and you're just like, there's this gap now, I don't know how to solve this. But it's one of those things where I always tell camera operators, shoot more than what you need. Go there. If it's it's a running gun shoot, prepare anything, like brainstorm before you shoot, like just know what you're shooting. And also like when you're shooting, shoot like an editor. Think as if like this is what you're going to edit. For example, if you're shooting interviews, if the client or the interview person that's on the camera is talking about, we are creating cell phones, will expect you as a camera operator to have a clip of a cell phone just to like correspond with what the client or the person that's being interviewed is talking about. Secondly, I would say, I think one of the things that is like very much important is like establishing the location or where we are in the world. Have exterior shots of where you are, just to give the audience an idea where you are, the location. Give me multiple shots, mid, close-ups, wide shots, so that because in post you can't cut close up to close up. So I need like medium to wide or close up to medium. So if you want to give me like the best deliverables to succeed, that's what I kind of expect from you as a camera operator. Yeah.
So what challenges do editors then face if the footage is actually then limited?
Yeah, we face a lot of challenges, but I'll get to the second part of this question just now. One of the things that we face is that it's lack of coverage, lack of footage, which kind of boxes us into a space where we can't create more than what we create with what we have, and that's just it. But we always like have a solution to it, which is like I think it's more like, for me, this question you just asked me, it's more like, okay, cool, what are problems that we face? But what are solutions are you willing to provide? And that's one of the things that I love about post-production. It's like having to come up with those solutions instead of like looking at this as a problem only, having to figure out. So in some cases, we are low on footage that was shot. We resort to like stock footage. We resort to stock footage, we resort to sound effects, we have multiple libraries at SA Filmworx that we work with, which are very helpful: Artlist, Envato, Motion Array, So yeah, there's so many issues that can happen in like beforehand coming over to post. But for me, it's always like providing the solution to all these problems that are there beforehand.
So tell me, does that also limit you in terms of music choices then?
Yeah, this has an impact on your pacing and your music choice because you have limited coverage. Now you're just like trying to, let's just say you're working on an edit and it needs to be fast paced. If you're working on an edit that is fast paced, it limits you. You get limited. It's like, in order to do a fast-paced edit, you have to have enough coverage to cover that specific time length in whatever edit that you're working on. So if it's like if you have footage that's limited, that limits you from creating those fast-paced edits. That's how I can put it.
Jumping into that, is there a story there where you actually had a project that you had to save and post? You're like, oh dear, I'm totally out of footage. How can I still serve the client in a way that will make them happy?
Quite a few, but I'll share this one with you. This one time, we had an international client where everything was shot that side, overseas. And then it came to South Africa, and I'm working on an edit, and I'm realizing, there's not enough coverage here. And we had to resort to like old projects that are kind of similar to this project, sourcing out like videos from like, let's just say this video I'm working on in 2025. And we had to go back into old drives looking for like footage from 2021, for instance, like trying to sort out this problem. So, and sometimes you resort to using stock footage or that's basically what I can share with you with this matter. It's like always like going back to old projects to fix a common project that's happening now.
No, well done for doing that. The client was pretty stoked about the project eventually, not knowing where some of those shots came from.
Yeah.
But, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But the real conversation lies in the fact that, it's important for when you are on set as a camera operator. If you don't have experience in editing, that's fine. But shoot enough. The editor can go. It often happens that we get the content and maybe the file sizes are ginormous, but the actual content in those files are limited. And then the entire post-production just becomes longer as well, because it's not focused around editing anymore. It's focused around sourcing, to enable editing again. And this is really something, even though I know the camera operators, they just move on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. But you need to know that with every project, doesn't matter where you are, make sure there's enough. Make sure that you even maybe shooting 50 frames so we can slow down some of those content pieces. Make sure that you may be shooting 4K so we can punch in on some of those shots and make it look like a different shot, right? Just to make sure that we have optimal opportunity to almost repurpose shots in the edit. And really, as Tabiso says, listen to that. If it's an interview, listen to what they say. Don't just record and kind of think about something else. Really listen to what they say, because this interview or vox pop will actually guide you as to what overlay the editor really truly needs to make this successful. Now remember, if the editor is successful, your client will come back to you to book you again on the shoot. So this really is in your favor to understand that if the editor makes your stuff look amazing, you'll get your next booking. So Tabiso, thank you so much just for helping us getting clarity as to what camera operators across the globe, I might add, need to deliver to editors. This is a collaborative effort. We all want the same thing. We want the client to succeed with the content that we create. If our clients succeed, then we'll succeed. They'll come back, they'll make more money and hopefully spend it here somewhere, and really make sure that the next booking goes, the next project might even be bigger. So thanks, dude. Appreciate your wisdom.
Thank you.